Holly Davis, and I work as a child advocate at the Children's Safety Center in Springdale, Arkansas. Okay. My title is basically a bilingual child advocate and forensic interviewer.
I am Mitch Singleton. I am an ophthalmologist. That's an eye surgeon.
I'm Catherine Shoulders, and I'm one of the owners of the athletic club, along with my husband. This is the Fayetteville Athletic Club.
I'm a youth services librarian. I teach a bilingual story time, which I think is why I put that here. I teach toddler time, I order books, help at the reference desk.
Hello, I'm Father John at the St. Nicholas Orthodox Church in Springdale, Arkansas. I like to study foreign languages. In high school I studied a year of French and Spanish and Latin, and in college days was able to spend a little time studying Greek and Hebrew.
Obviously, importing finance sheets is a very specialized career, and the advantage of speaking French is that most people that import do not speak the native language. I took French all through high school and then continued in college, started studying Spanish and Russian in college, and then went on for a master's in French. And taught for 20 years and then went into business, so it's just always been French.
My name's Louis Ruggieri, and I work for Colgate-Palmolive, and I've worked for Colgate for 28 years. Currently, I'm the general manager of our business here in Arkansas, managing Walmart. I've worked in several different countries with Colgate.
I'm Julia Ruggieri, and I'm not currently working, but I also worked at Colgate. And I guess every job I've gotten because I could speak Spanish. I majored in Spanish in college, and got my first job actually as a bilingual secretary.
German has turned out to be a real advantage to me because the German-speaking countries are leading the world in some of the most cutting-edge research that's out there today in the life and physical sciences, and so the background knowledge of German that I have really is opening some doors for me as far as career possibilities in the future.
Well, I was living in Texas, and I was an elementary teacher, and I was working in an elementary school that was 80% Hispanic, and I was like teaching reading and ESL, but I could not communicate with the parents. And I didn't like that, and I thought, well, I'm going to learn Spanish, and I was so happy I did.
I did high school Latin and German and French in college, all with the intent of going to medical school.
I started in probably elementary, but got more interested in Spanish in high school. I became very attached to my Spanish teacher at the time. She was a lot of fun. And I think that there was a reward to staying with the program with her because we got to have a trip and go to Spain.
You know, I took a couple of years in high school. It wasn't for me. I just couldn't get into it with my teachers. And then I got into college, and I had a lot of Spanish-speaking friends, and I had that want to travel. So I ended up doing a study abroad in Spain, and that's where I really started to kind of latch onto it.
I actually think there are huge opportunities for people coming out of college that can actually speak a foreign language. More and more, I mean, our world is so global, and especially in places like Fayetteville, Arkansas, that kind of person that can speak fluently is very valuable. Here lately, in about the last 2 years, I have used it more because we have had more and more Spanish-speaking employees coming our way. We not only have employees that speak predominantly Spanish, we also have potential members.
As I said, knowing the language and knowing the culture enables me to find very specialized pieces in here it's an automatic credibility because there's someone who's taken the time to learn the language, and I stay in French. Even if they speak some English, I stay in French.
If you are doing any of the biologic or if any of the medical fields, physicians, dentists, nurses, physical therapists, laboratory technicians, you will learn Latin and Greek whether you want to or not, because all of the terminology is in Latin or Greek.
To just study it a little bit, a lot of the phrases and the terminology of my ordination and my textbooks that I did have had to have a certain knowledge that they just assumed a person would have.
I mean, you still need to get the technical background in whatever area you're interested in, but companies like Colgate are very interested in having individuals that will move through the organization and move outside the U.S. Greek would be very important.
Italian, there's
Italian.
a subsidiary, I believe, France.
To be honest, I've had to learn a lot regarding social work. That it's been a learning experience. But yeah, without Spanish, I wouldn't have even been considered.
In America, especially since we're so, we only speak one language, it would be definitely beneficial, and you could advance yourself in your career by learning another language.
I always heard that people who were in business have an advantage if they also have a foreign language, and I always taught that to my students, but now I see it in action in my own life, so it's interesting.
When I started with Colgate, you didn't have to have an MBA. Now you do. And I can envision a day in the future where you'll have to have a second language.
Tourist is going to Europe and having a pocket dictionary, and you can read the signs, you can read the menus, and frequently you don't even have to look them up because there are enough similarities between the various Romance languages.
I love it when I can meet people and I can speak their language, like maybe English isn't their native language, and then I can speak their language, even if it's not very good. It still is, I don't know, there's something about that in your heart. You have like more of a connection.
About 5 years ago, I was able to study a little bit of Arabic, and I think it helped me understand the culture so much to see how they express themselves.
I can actually walk by and talk back and forth, even though it's not always in complete, grammatically correct sentences. Then they try to teach me back, and so that's a nice synergy of having not only me being the boss, so to speak, but also that they can teach me something of value.
I assure you, if you have studied another language, your English grammar will be unbelievable.
When you learn a foreign language, you have a window into another culture, which gives you a window into your own culture.
It makes you appreciate when others try to speak English, how difficult it is to speak a foreign language.
Why not try and enter the realm that someone else is living in by trying to speak their language?
I don't think that 2 years of a high school foreign language really ties the knot. And you could make a good case for continuing in the language that you've started. But the second language is much easier to learn.
At least learning it in high school and college, I think is there's more time. Then you're in the setting, you're with a professor. Our general manager is studying Spanish. He's listening to CDs and studying on his own because he wants to be able to converse better with our staff. So I know that he didn't take any foreign language in school. It's pretty hard.
When you get busy in the world, it just seems like time is gone.
I think obviously it's better to start a language when you're a child. But just because you haven't doesn't mean you should give up, because I did have the benefit of being exposed to another language as a child. But Lewis really had very little exposure till he was an adult, till he was 40, and he did so well.
Yeah, I think the adults learn a lot too. They come up after class and they're asking me questions like, well, why do you put ito at the end?
The student really has to be really patient with themselves. You know, when they're learning the language, you know, it's a process, you know, like climbing a mountain. They just have to just be patient and not, you know, just throw everything down and say, forget it, I can't do it.
The idea that you are an educated person if you don't know another language, I think, is wrong.
I don't know, I think it just kind of is an indication of a well-rounded person. When I see it on someone's resume that they speak a foreign language, it just kind of says something about them being a broader-minded person and getting a little bit beyond maybe just the norm.
Question, but it is just enriches your life, and that's a practical application in my book.
Do it. It's the best thing you could do. It's so much fun.
Having Spanish, I'm just so grateful that I had the opportunity to learn it, you know, that I went forward with it. I have never regretted the time or the effort.